I do is I zoom in to just, I fill up a page with just my one problem, but it doesn't zoom in up there. So when I start writing, I can write real big on here, but it shows up on all sides there. That's the reason I like it. Because if you got it completely synced and you start zooming in, then all of a sudden it's back to zoomed in, and you're like, well, where's the picture? Right. Or where's this? Or where's the chart that we're looking at?
And I know the things that they made it to be intentional use, not in the industry. So they're really impressed with the fact that it's still working 100 upside to the display. Right, so it isn't working perfectly, but it's same with all of them. So many things that are good there. But it may work with your other some other ones, but I don't know. But yeah, so they if you need a it may work better if you get stuff to work so
I actually haven't been using it.
okay.
So using the Ethernet cable?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is going wirelessly, and I'm going wirelessly, and sometimes it is for wireless. It should help a little bit with stability for the surefire fix, but
I always have this thing on my desk plugged into the Ethernet, but
yeah.
but I leave the wireless on. Should I do that?
It will go straight to the Ethernet, correct?
It should, it's supposed to take the fastest speed. However, to guarantee it, turn off the Wi-Fi. Sometimes I think mine conflicts,
Oh, really?
and so I do turn it off.
Okay.
And I know, you know how when you shut down your computer and start it up again, when it does the sync, it can take a really long time.
5 days.
Really, really long. Exactly. I was told that if you initiate that wirelessly, it's going to continue, even if you plug in your Ethernet.
Oh.
So you should make sure that you're plugged in when you do it, or hit cancel
Yeah, I always
and then
plug in first, then open the top,
open it. Okay.
and it should go to that first.
I just never.
It syncs right away, doesn't it? I usually click cancel because I don't want to sit and wait the whole time. But then you can go, once you're on, and go to the little houses and then push it
You can
there.
initiate it.
Which- That's better. At least you'll use, yeah, you can still use it.
Okay, so getting started with ST Math. I know you've used it last year. And so I'm gonna start this off with a funny math video. Because I like it. We'll see if you've seen this before.
Okay, here's your homework. First we're telling the directions. What form take away 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Take away. What's 6 take away 1? No, you take away. So you take away 1 out of 6. How much does it equal?
This is awesome.
What's 5, 10 minus 1? I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nope. Take away 1. Which is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 8 and 1 more. And add 1 more. How many equal? 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 equals, it makes 9. See how you take away? You take away 1 and it equals 1. Do you get it now? Yes.
That was awesome.
We've all had those days, right?
Yes, that was awesome.
And getting closer really helps.
Yeah.
Let me come closer to you.
Proximity.
Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to do what's called, it's going to be kind of a hybrid thing. We're going to go back and forth from the things that I'm going to talk about to some of the stuff that ST Math has put together for us. So the very first thing is called their Course 1. So if you'll on your computer go to that link right there, and that's a case-sensitive link if you're not familiar with Google Links. So that's GOO.GL. And it's KNLZ 3 capital T. What should happen, you should end up on that page.
Did you go back to the apples?
Oh, sorry.
Are we watching the video?
Actually, the video is the presentation that I'm doing now. So what I'm gonna, as soon as everybody's in, you can click on the tabs that says Course 1, and it should give you a description of Course 1. There you go. Okay,
Are we supposed to do this on our iPads, on our laptops?
it's going to be easier to do it on your laptop. In some, and then once we get into actually creating your class, it has to be done on your.
Sorry, Tim.
So,
One more time, please.
oh, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. Oh, actually, I should have had it written down.
You're trying to teach to subtract. You can't take away one.
Why don't you come a little closer?
Yeah, that would do it for me.
There we go.
Okay. Speaking of syncing. No, I'm trying to type thing in and it jumps to this.
Oh, you're in right there. That's the page right there. So you're good. Okay, so when you came to it, it should look like this. I think we're all there. And if you hit on the top left-hand side, there's where it says Course 1. We've got GGO.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh.
So, and then there's a link on Course 1 that's a little bit down where it says the description, where it says Learning Without Words. Click on the blue link at the bottom. Should open up either a new window or a new tab, depending on what you're doing. And then it's going to tell you to begin course. It's kind of going to go through some introductory things to ST Math.
Go ahead and click on it.
Yep. So I'm going to have you go through Course 1 on your own. And then we're going to log into your actual accounts.
Watch video or no?
Yeah, there's a few videos in there. Oh, that was nice. That was perfect.
One at a time.
Oh, good.
Now we need you to do all the columns on the next page. 4 plus 1 would equal 5. One, two, 3, 4, 5.
They don't like that sound. Videos don't like that.
That's the wrong sound.
They will do anything not to get that. They'll turn their volume down.
5. This one again. Since this says 4 over here, you could how many 1, 2, 3, so you need 3. So 3 plus 1 equals 4, so you can get to that side. Oh yeah, 5. Now go. 7.
In school, the way of conveying ideas is through words. A teacher walks up to the board, writes words, says words. Students receive books with words and are expected to respond to questions with words. The vast majority of teaching is done through words. But let's look at who we're trying to teach. Focusing on California, 25% of students are English language learners. Another 15% have language-based learning difficulties, such as dyslexia. An additional 20% fail language comprehension tests. And a large portion of the remaining students characterize themselves as visual learners. Left over, there's only a tiny little segment of students for whom current teaching methods are a good fit. And I was one of those students way down there. I have dyslexia, and for me, words were really big learning barriers. I mean, I didn't even learn to read until I was in the 5th grade. And so when I started investigating how we might be able to teach without words, I was shocked at how language-heavy even resource materials are. We look at this worksheet I ran across. Color the shape that is the same as the first shape in each row. They even have it in Spanish. So I wondered, what would happen if we remove all those words and hand this over to some 4-year-olds along with some crayons and don't say anything? This is what happens. We didn't tell them what to do, and so they did whatever they wanted. But how do we tell students what to do without words?
Want to do the next?
Yep, just keep going down. It'll actually tell you when you're done.
Okay.
Today we're going to be learning about missing atoms. Our important words are missing atom, related fact, sum, and atoms. Follow along. There were 5 students on the bus. The more students got on the bus, finding missing atoms, and then 9 were facts, right?
Scroll down.
You can read that or click continue.
4 plus 1 equals 5.
Welcome to SD Math. SD Math is a game-based learning system that features Gigi the Penguin. Students use mathematical thinking to figure out how to get Gigi past obstacles and across the screen. One of the key design features is that math problems are first introduced with the language, numbers, and symbols removed, to be reintroduced later, enabling access for all students to the critical thinking and problem solving at the heart of mathematics. In the software, this multiplication problem, ostriches have 2 legs. How many legs does a group of 3 ostriches have altogether? Becomes a puzzle where all of the key elements are presented entirely visually. Students see and solve a highly interactive game where they choose the number of boots needed by all 3 ostriches, and Gigi is able to cross the screen. Sequences of these games are organized into learning parts, where as students make progress, the symbols are gradually reintroduced, until by the end of the learning path, students are solving exactly the same math problems they will encounter in any textbook or on any standardized test. There's practically no multiple choice in SD Math. Students actively learn by doing, and every puzzle provides rich, immediate, and informative feedback. Students are able to try things out and learn from their own mistakes. For example, in this volume conversion problem, we need to convert 2.5 gallons into quarts. The student answers incorrectly, choosing 12 quarts. Notice how the software animates the consequences of the student's answer, providing a clear visual of the correct conversion rates of 4 quarts to a gallon, and showing the student precisely why their answer was incorrect. The 2 extra quarts mean Gigi is unable to cross the screen. Students then try the same problem again, immediately able to apply their new understanding. The concept of what 2.5 gallons means visually is clearly animated by the puzzle. This is not just practice software, this is instructional software where students actually learn new ideas. SD Math has over 800 games. During the course of a single grade level, students will play around 120 games, 4,000 puzzles. So whether students are working with visual models of fractions on the number line, solving interactive linear equations, or even graphing parabolas in Algebra 1, they're continually engaged in critical thinking, rigorous problem solving, and developing their own intuitive conceptual grasp of math. Teachers also bring STMath into the classroom as a tool to facilitate student discussions. So by transforming the learning process, STMath has been able to transform the learning outcomes. Entire districts in California have closed the achievement gap for their English learners, and tens of thousands of students are doubling or even tripling their rate of improvement in math proficiency on state assessments. Currently, STMath is available from kindergarten through 8th grade intervention at the high school level. And while half a million students are using STMath, our mission is to ensure that all students are mathematically equipped to solve the world's most challenging problems. And from our research, this can only be achieved when students are learning math by seeing, experiencing, and doing math.
But how do we tell students what to do without words? Here's one thing. Interactive software with informative feedback. If you click on the wrong thing, it shows you why you were wrong. And when you click on the right thing, it shows you why you were right. And you have a little penguin across the screen.
It's pretty easy to think about teaching geometry without words, but how are more complex ideas presented? You're going to get a chance to play some fraction games for yourself in just a minute. Before you do, here are a few hints to get you started. First, you'll click on an objective cone. Then, even though you have access to several options, we suggest that you start at the farthest left on each screen. The green steps show which levels of Game 1 have been completed, and the gray level means it hasn't been played yet. For this demo, we suggest that you start at level 1, so you'll know what to do. While you play, think about how Gigi has to cross the screen, what you think might happen, and then see if it does. Be sure to make some mistakes and notice the feedback. How does the feedback help you understand what to do? As you play, think about the insights and understand how games will help us to develop. Don't forget to have fun.
Tim, will any of this stuff function without a wireless connection? I've got quite a few students who don't have internet at home. One of the things that I'm really liking about DigiQuiz is that they can at least practice with it. They don't have to log in, so they can just use it as a standalone. Then DigiQuiz has got these mastery quizzes, and I'm working on it. So I tell them, okay, go home and practice your 9s, 12s or whatever, until you're really quick with it. Then come in when you got the wireless connection here, take the mastery test, and it'll show you how you improve.
Right. This will do it as long as they don't log out. So if they log in at school,
Yeah.
so it's probably the same concept. As long as the program is open and running, and they haven't logged out, and it's running in the background, they should be able to take it home, continue working. But if they log out at home, they'll lose work. They have to make sure that when they come back and hit the Wi-Fi, they have to log out and see the green bubble, which I'll talk about the green bubble. And once they see a green bubble, their data is safe.
I didn't know DigitalWiz would do that.
Well, I'm assuming if they're going home and doing it.
No, well, I'm gonna try that. I don't know if that works. I've been just, you can practice on DigitalWiz without logging in. So it's off, so nothing's being transmitted, but it's still got the practice.
I would try that.
I would,
That seems to work on a lot of different things.
Okay.
As long as the program is running,
Okay.
it should continue to run.
I don't think it'll work with Alex.
Store the data. No, probably not with Alex, but it should continue to store the data on the iPad. And then when they come back, it should transmit.
Oh, that's great. If it does that, that's fabulous. Okay.
It should.
All right.
Yeah. And STMath did do that. I think Debbie tried it a few times last year. And it was successful. Now each kid, depending on what they do with their iPad, could be a problem. It should work.
Okay.
Because it'll store the data on the actual device, and then at the very end, when you log out, it'll transmit. So they just won't transmit until the next day.
Okay.
And we can actually set up, which I'll go through later, but you can actually set up different things for homework, which is maybe not something that you want to start from the beginning. You want to get them going on just what they call their syllabus, their core material.
Right.
And then if somebody comes in and just, says, I want to do more practice or something, that you can set up specific homework.
Okay.
For that student. Now, they would need internet access to do that.
I see. Yeah, that's, my kids, I'd say third of them don't have.
Well, hopefully we'll get an internet cafe for the district.
We've listed some, different programs right now being so rural, companies aren't interested.
Set it up over to that old library at the lower or something like that where kids can go after school. Or you've got the library, that's true. And their buses do drop off across the street, so.
For example, I got a kid who's, I guess he's a latchkey kid, mom tells me, she's a single mom, she tells me the kid comes home, lets himself in at home, they can't afford internet, and she doesn't get home until 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night. She says, how can you do any homework if it's on the internet?
Our goal is not to assign homework by this internet. So like STMath is more the children that we're purchasing for use at school, but if they do have
I never had to do it at home.
Yeah.
It's kind of a treat. It's a fun Friday. Last year I kind of used it as a treat. And then, when we had access to it more often, we did it twice a week. But it was just an in-class, it's not a standalone.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about how much they should be using it too.
Right, okay, good.
But yeah, I would never assign this for home. It wouldn't be a homework thing.
Yeah, we shouldn't assign anything right now that is Wi-Fi independent homework. Like, this is their articles and everything if they're reading, or if you have some worksheet or something, they can pull that down while they're at school. And then once they get home, we don't want to assign anything with Wi-Fi dependency. I know last night was at our Title VII meeting, and that's a big topic of discussion that students don't have internet. So that's the nice thing about the iPad, is that they don't have to have Wi-Fi in order to use it at home. But for programs like this, they do, but that, like Tim is saying, is more for classroom use. And then once they get home, there are different programs. Math is a little harder because a lot of the programs that we do use are Wi-Fi dependent, but again, those are for classroom use. And then all of we have different apps that run without Wi-Fi,
You have a textbook you teach with?
Nope.
Not even the eighth grade math or second grade math, their book? The grade before you that you could assign home, because those are on the iPad, aren't they? the textbooks?
Most of the kids that I'm teaching right now are in my class because they don't do homework anyway.
Right.
You know, that's why they end up with me. You know, so DigitWiz engages them, and they will take it out and they will use it on their own. And so far, I've played with SD Math quite a bit, and I find it really engaging. You know, and one of those things where you start working on it, you can't put it down, and that's exactly what I want. You know, that's.
However, they get to a point and they get frustrated because they can't move on. And some will be on the same thing for weeks. And be like the real low learners, and it won't let them progress until they actually get it.
Right.
So, which is good, because some of them get, and then they start trying to, asking their friend to help them, which defeats the whole purpose.
Actually,
The system, the way
Yeah.
this is designed.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's some positives in that too.
Well, yeah, of course, I don't want anybody to be stuck on something for 3 weeks. And that's, I figure I'm supposed to jump in, you know, and guide
Give
them.
little, you give little
And help
hints.
them, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll show you how to read that today. We'll talk about if a kid is stuck on a certain thing for too long, it'll tell you.
Oh, good.
And so
Some
then
of
you,
them choose to just sit there and be stuck too.
some of them choose, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I mean, but, you know, they would choose that in any situation.
Yeah.
So.
Some of them
But I
choose
thought
to
it was-
deliberately sabotage their iPads.
No.
I'm not joking.
But I like the idea of having them open it up before they leave, so they stay logged in. The only thing is trying to get a system where if you have a student in first period, to remind them at sixth period to go home with that app, so they can use that.
Well, my kids are old enough. I mean, they're they're 7th and 8th graders. I can pass that along to them, and I think I can.
And I'll give you, once we get going on, like I was talking about that green bubble, I'll give you some tips on what to tell them to do. Because if they work the whole time in your period, then they actually don't log out until the next day, that's not good. You actually don't get feedback on their progress until they've logged out. When they log out, it pushes you feedback.
I see.
So if that is a plan, you need to make sure that they do log out and then log right back in and then go to a different app.
Okay.
But they need to be logging out to save whatever they've done during your period.
Okay. Good.
Because if not, they could lose a lot.
Uh-huh.
Then that gets frustrating.
Yeah.
And at school, it doesn't happen very often. I don't think I've had anybody here. It happened to me in Hemet where I had a couple of kids lose some stuff, but that was a different situation. It hasn't happened here yet, but we'll talk about that stuff. Okay, did everybody finish with that? Course one, I think it takes you to the end. It gives you a check mark. Okay, so we're going to talk about creating a class. So go ahead and open up a new tab and go to stmath.com. And I'm hoping you remember your.
I tried to do it the other day.
Okay, I can reset your password.
Okay.
And then the blue sticky notes that are here for you guys, it gives you your username, which I have no control over. And for some reason, they put everybody as VAL, except for me.
Oh, you mean our username and password?
Yes.
That one?
Wow.
That was a real long password. That's the one we were given, right?
The password, the first time you went in, it should have asked you to reset it.
All right, well, I'll try that.
Try it. I can always
Okay, no,
reset it.
you can use an email address?
No, the username should be VAL, first
Oh.
initial, last name, and then last name.
VAL,
VAL. I think everybody VAL except for me.
no dot?
So you're saying I can change the password then?
It's gonna prompt you to do so, at least it should.
There's no number in there?
And for the first time that you come in, and even if we reset yours, you probably should use something simple. Like when my first initial time I'm setting up, this is the only time that this program is slightly complicated, it's the first day. You've got to go around and touch each iPad. And so if your password is too long, it could be a problem. So and I think it makes it be 6 characters. So like right now, today, I set mine up as Tim. And so that way I can do it quickly. And I'm gonna show you, we're gonna do a live demo on how I would go around and enroll each one of you. And I'm gonna have you enroll in my class and do that in a little bit. But I need to have access quickly to my password and be able to put it in. So you may not want, and you're doing that, not necessarily with a student watching, but they're in close proximity. So you may not want to use your Google password, okay? You know?
When I logged, are you talking about when I logged the kids in?
Mhm.
They were just playing on it the first time, and then my iPad would jump to the next kid. I
Yes,
didn't have to-
teleported, yes.
Yeah.
But if you wait too long, it'll log you out. You only get 3 minutes. I don't think it's 3 minutes. I actually think it's a little shorter, but it says it's 3 minutes.
I need a new password, I have no idea.
You have new, okay. So you guys go ahead and click on that, and then this should bring you to this page here. There's a teacher login, which will open up this console. And then go ahead and put that username and password in. You too, it should prompt you to redo your password. And, okay, let me see. And let's see.
What were we doing? I was watching that.
Utilities, reset password.
I remember, it was,
Oh, you got it?
it was something that we could get on too. I think it was.
That's Oakland. That's cool. Continue. Password.
I did testing in school.
Oh, okay, so let's do, I'm gonna give you a temporary one. So go ahead and put the VAL, first initial, then your last name. And then go ahead and do B4BCBH. And it should prompt you to reset it to whatever you want. Perfect. Actually, that's new, actually. That's interesting. It used to give me control over actually setting it to something. So that I think that actually works better. So.
Did you reset it or is it?
That
That's how
password
we
did it.
set? Okay.
Yep. Did it take you in?
Mhm.
Yep. It'll go through when you're resetting. It'll go through some things. Double check your information, and then create a new password.
I did use the server and it wasn't like it. Did that offer you letter? I put in numbers in it.
What's that?
Put in numbers in it, didn't
Oh, there you go.
Okay, and then you're saying that once I get my kids all set up with the accounts, I'm no longer having to do this thing, then I may go back and change the password to something a little more obscure.
Yes, you have control over your password. If you forget your password, I can reset your password. So if you're bouncing back and forth because of this, let me know and I can reset it.
So the username is Val.
What's your last
Yes,
name?
no.
You want to create the class or not?
Well, hang on, I want to get everybody together. Okay, so there should be a button on there that says create class. It'll have a plus sign on it. Yeah, got that? Okay. You'll be asked for some information. Here's the thing. Last year, we had a few of us doing different things. So here's my suggestion. If you want to keep everybody in this massive roster, that's up to you. For me, when it gets down to the certain thing, to group to me is the same thing as period. Yeah. And I think it has 0 through 8 or 1 through 8 or something like that. And I make those my periods because I want them separated out because I'll look at the progress of each period. And I know my first period is way lower than my 5th period class doing this. So that's my suggestion. And I'll show you how to enroll them in that, but you probably want to just create at least one class right now, choosing your period, your first period that you actually do it.
We choose
Okay.
high school intervention.
Do we want to use, yeah,
So it's high school intervention, and I'm trying to think what it says for you.
8th grade and
There's a middle school choice. Yeah, pick that one. Scroll down. You actually have to use the bar. It's not user friendly on that. Okay, so you want, I would go with 7th grade. Or what does MSS stand for? It's middle school supplement, I think, or something to that degree.
My kids are still, I mean, a lot of my kids are struggling with their time schedules
And that's okay.
as 8th graders.
That's okay. It's actually going to give them a different way to think about
Putting
time
it
schedules as
December
well.
10th.
Oh, my God.
You're doing December 10th?
So, but I'm wondering, does that make a difference if I select 6th grade or 7th grade?
No, especially you can go back and change it.
Yeah.
if you
Okay.
want to as well.
All right.
Eight class.
We continue.
Okay, so once you set up that thing, it's gonna give you this, it's gonna say continue to course 2. Now, when you go into course 2, we're not gonna do the whole thing. I'm gonna keep this up there because you're gonna stop after you do this, okay? Because we're not gonna do the whole thing. It should only take us a few minutes to go through course 2. Course 2 is a little bit shorter than course 1, it really wasn't too long anyway. So go ahead and click on the button that says go to course 2. It'll probably open again a new tab or a new window, depending on how you set it up. Oops. Probably learn it because you do only have.
Sorry, I'm late.
Now that's the, so that's at the end of course.
Oh, okay.
So maybe in December before we go on break.
Oh, okay. But I can alter this stuff later.
Yes. Now you can
Is that,
that site right there.
Okay.
Take you to a high page that's set up for your-
oh, perfect.
Get started with David Font as STMath. And don't forget, have fun as you explore STMath as
You know it.
Be available to come help us on the first day again?
Yeah, sure. What, I will see. Do you know what day you're gonna start?
We'll put up a schedule, because I want to make sure that everybody has a chance to get.
Only because
somebody in there.
just to let you know, Suzie, I'm every other week. I'm on right now, but I wouldn't be on next week, but the following week, that's what happens.
I'm not sure yet.
as opposed to other students. You can start teams that should standing outside of that.
You can go to course 1. You don't have to log in.
Did I skip something? The
All right.
video they were watching.
Thank you.
Did you watch this?
Did you watch that one?
Students see too many games in him. They can't become overwhelmed and he gets you discouraged. So we break the games up into teams. Start kind of like a marathon. I once heard something talk about that. One game you memorize every
We're all independent now, learning, sort of work.
So, yes, we kind of go back, we go back and forth.
Okay. And what about? Okay. Right. Yeah, they used to have.
So I don't know what happens.
It's not a document that I'm familiar with. I don't know why it's wanting to sync with my computer. I think it just needs something.
Okay, there's two. Oh, there's two. No, there's you probably didn't do that. Good.
Let's
Just
just start
tap
a
right
quiz.
there. There should be 2 quizzes, and the last one looks like that. So there's 2 checking for understanding. So then, I think it's wanting you to order them in the way that a student sees them, their progress.
Oh.
I didn't read the directions.
So if you weren't paying attention, you're not gonna get a good score.
Are you guys cool too?
I think you're not so. It is 770. It is a little chilly.
There you go.
All right, teacher, I'm
Pat
ready to
on
go
the
on.
I got this book of things.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I don't like that.
Oh,
I don't need this. I'm good at laptop.
Check, how do I put the
so there's a check underneath the picture.
Oh, there we go.
You know why my kids were getting stuck on certain spots? I don't think I used the teacher pages very often.
Ah,
I
okay,
didn't know what, because they just said play with it,
yes.
so.
And she was more in sales rather than training.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was really her thing, but she kind of let us in, so.
Yeah.
There you go. You can stop.
That's what I'm interested in.
That was good. That was your last one right there.
I see, okay. Reward myself for that.
That draw circles.
I think it's supposed to like hold a piece of paper. So it looks like it. Wow. Oh, maybe. Put it back there.
So it makes a huge difference. First day.
Especially with a big class. Yes. Because if you don't get through a certain part, it didn't, basically the whole day on those kids was a waste. It didn't actually happen. You've got to get them to a certain part, through a certain part, or it's a waste. It's a little easier at the high school because we've got the block. And I'm gonna go over today and get Rich, one of his classes going.
But what was also helpful was having someone who could communicate in Spanish. Because the Spanish speakers, they always want to start over. Or they think it's wrong if they forget their password, and then they'll take somebody else's password thinking that it's okay to use somebody else's. And I've got 3
Oh my
people on the
gosh.
same password.
Really?
Yeah, because you know, the Spanish speakers, the EL kids.
Yeah.
They don't see anything wrong in sharing.
Mhm.
To them, sharing is helping.
Yeah.
So if your password doesn't work, I'll give you my password because I'm helping you. It's a real cultural thing.
Wow.
And so it really helps to have someone come in and say that in Spanish, that if you forget, here's the process. That it's okay, just ask, it's not a bad thing, but to share with each other. Because then I have to go through and I'm like, who's using the same password?
Is ST Math going to generate passwords for them?
Oh, it's so cool how it does it.
Yes.
And
It does it with a
it's,
bunch
Not
of.
a simple,
it's so cool. how
and
it
you'll
does it.
see, it's very interesting.
And you'll create an account, and I'm gonna enroll you in my class today.
Okay.
You'll see.
Because I'm gonna do a little mini, I'm gonna walk around and enroll you, just like you will do in your own class.
Great. Okay.
So
One
how
of the
many
things,
classes would you have?
4.
So you're suggesting I might show up and have.
For somebody there.
I've only got, the one that Tim's gonna do with me today is the only one where I've got, one kid who's, can't speak any English.
And you could probably have somebody help.
I do,
Yes, you
Lupita
do.
sits in front of him and
There
she's
you go.
she's my official
Perfect.
translator. She
Okay.
explains everything to him, yeah.
There you go.
you know, in the beginning on course 1, it talked about how in California, all the raising of the scores.
Yes, I saw that.
And a lot of times people put that out and you're like, oh, no, whatever. But I can tell you where I was in Hemet, we used this, actually it was every single student in the entire district had an account, not just a certain amount like we have right now. Hopefully we'll get to there.
Oh,
But
yeah.
my intervention classes, after using this, were the highest scoring in the entire district. Wow. And we're one of the highest scoring in Riverside on the, now we don't have that, we're gonna have a few years before we get feedback because of the whole testing situation, but when we were testing, those students who were making humongous gains out of this program, I mean, it's amazing. The way that they can get you to remember your password will sell you right off the
It's so
bat.
cool. It's so cool.
Okay, so.
It's those connections, it's those mental connections, and I know when I started teaching, there was a thing called, I was shared before, math therapy. Remember math therapy? When it was strictly for kindergarten, first grade, and you just taught math through manipulatives and concrete methods. You did not introduce numbers or the visual until much later, until they really had it down. And now, of course, they're not doing that. We're right into 1 + 1. And so I see that as really coming back to this a little bit.
Right.
I'll tell you one of the reasons why they excel so much practice. That's why. Has a lot to do with it. I get baffled when I was doing, some student teaching and stuff like that, and they tell me, don't give the kids any more than 8 homework problems. Really? How are they supposed to, build up being able to do it? And that's what this does. It allows them to try it again, 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 try it again.
It also promotes,
You know what I mean?
failure to reach success.
Yeah.
Which is everything we try to push, but they don't get it. They just want to go skip all those steps and go right to success.
And
They need
they're-
to fail.
And their technological thinking as well, you have to see where they're coming from, and they are very visual learners too. I mean, the whole visual aspect, but also the problem solving. It is a big puzzle, is what it is. This is a huge puzzle, and that's how they work on video and games and everything. They're really sort of geared towards that, and I think that's why that helps as well.
Well, the other thing that I'm seeing a lot of is just the fact that they're getting immediate feedback.
That is what we like
Working
that.
with
That's
a
the other
straight, I send home eight, this has happened probably to everybody in this room, 8 problems, the kid comes back the next day and all 8 of them are done wrong, they made the same mistake 8 times in a row. And they got no immediate feedback, and
Reinforce the wrong.
yeah.
Yes.
None of these programs, Alex, they won't let you get away with that. You're gonna know right away.
Okay, so first time logging in and setting up. This is what I was talking about. This is the time where it can be a little confusing. So I'm gonna kind of walk through it, talk through it a little bit, and then we're gonna kind of do it, okay? And everybody should have these, I think. Okay. She was, and all your students got ST Math pushed to their iPads, right?
Yes.
Here she comes to verify that.
I think we did.
I think everybody is set on that, but here comes,
I may have one or two exceptions, but.
right.
Well, all the kids
I just
said
call
they have it.
technology, you know. Well, because I've got kids transferred in the last week.
Yeah.
You know, new kids.
And it should be, to my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but as soon as they transfer in, that should automatically be in your account, and anything that's specific to you, as soon as they get transferred in Infinite Campus, the app should get transferred as well.
Really?
That's what I understand
That's
as
what I
well.
understand too.
But
I
do
haven't
you
seen
have,
that
do you
yet.
have a name, like it's one student name, I can just send it to Brandon just to check, you know, when it is transferred into a period?
Julia Lewis.
Okay, and what, Julia?
Julia, yeah, I think that's right. Lewis.
Is that an actress?
Yeah, sounds like it, doesn't it? Yeah. I think
No,
she's in
it's a
my,
combination of two actresses' names.
I think she's in my second period class.
Okay, so I'm gonna just send this to him just as one demo, one test
Yeah.
case.
But everybody else should have those apps, right? Or that app.
They should,
Okay,
they should, and then Jeff was going around and
He went
checking.
around.
Okay.
Okay, so
Good.
this is how we checked. Okay, kids. Who's got the app on there? Go find the Penguin app. And then everybody said they have it, but who knows who actually paid attention totally.
Okay.
We'll find out when we get
Okay.
there.
Mine just got their iPads back, so I'll check.
Ray, I had several kids
They
who
go-
have their iPads wiped by Robert,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
messed with them and so.
Because they
Would
share.
it still automatically come back in?
Yes,
It
so
would.
then whatever is assigned to them will come back.
Okay, I get how.
So here's the hint, if they don't have STMap on their iPad, they more than likely have downloaded VShare and you have it wiped, because VShare will mess with it and won't allow it to push any apps after they download it.
Good tidbit.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so assuming we're just gonna make that assumption that we're all good and have it, that's what it looks like. And you guys were all supposed to put it on yours, you did that, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So you're gonna end up, there's two different login screens. This is the iPad view. This is the computer view. You can do it on either one, okay? So most of us, most of the time, are probably using the iPads. In my room, I put up, right here, this is the code. And I'm gonna give you guys your own codes in a little bit so that you have it. But this is the code for mine, okay? And this is how it works. For the iPad, which is a little different, the beginning part for me, and I believe everybody else is VAL. But mine is Oak73S, and that's my school ID. The password, which is down here, goes right here. And this is a shot of that up close. That's where they would put it. You cannot, and I actually brought in one of the iPads to show you. They will not be able to get in until they put that on. And so it'll bring up that page and they cannot go further without it. So,
Did you say you're
You want
gonna
to push
us our
notifications or
own?
no?
what's that?
Push notifications or no?
It doesn't matter. So this is what it'll come up with. So this is the screen. And they can't go any further without it. So the first time they log in, this they get shot down until you give them that code. Capitals and dashes don't matter. Okay?
You say one, okay. So ours is gonna be for the high school is,
It's going to be VALs.
you're
and
gonna
then
give us that.
I'm going to give you that. in a
Okay.
little- Before you go, you'll have that.
See,
Yes.
I'm already here, because I've been on there before, right?
Yes.
So I,
That's okay.
okay.
For the computer setup is a little different way. I just wanted to bring your attention, even though most of us probably won't be using that route. The computer sets it all up, puts the dashes in, everything goes in order, just like that. There's no username and password, or school ID and password. It's all together on the computer. Okay. Now, here's our issue, though. If a student did ST Math last year, we need to check this report. And we're not going to have these students. I'm going to give you a report because we've got to go through it. The high school purchased 70 licenses. I hope that's enough. It sounds low to me, but I don't know. You have 60 kids enrolled right now, so you only have 10 open licenses at the
We
moment.
have more than 70 kids.
No, that's, whoever ordered, that's what they ordered.
Between, because we have 4 periods.
I have 60, I have 61.
And I probably have 60 kids as well. We got a
Okay,
problem.
we'll try to get that taken care of today.
Okay,
The middle school has 85 licenses, 65 are being used. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and pause right here because I've printed out the current rosters. So any kid that is not in your classroom, we need to delete them and you get that count back,
oh, it's everybody.
okay? Is it?
Pretty much, unless you have repeats. I just have two repeated students.
So if they're still in your class, we don't wanna delete them. It's not the end of the world, we can still, because I've done it both ways, I've deleted them and not deleted them.
So anybody who's not in our class, put a check mark.
Well, it sounds like it might be easier to do it the other way for the high school.
Circle the ones that you do have.
Circle the ones that you do have, maybe.
Yeah.
That might be easier. It sounds like there's a lot that don't come back to that class.
These are all the kids I had last year because I was the only one that did them.
Wow.
I only,
There's a whole lot of kids in here
That you have,
that I don't have.
that you don't have. Okay, they were all Debbie Nixon's, and I believe it was most of her bilingual. Is that right? It was just her bilingual that did it?
Debbie Nixon,
Oh.
yes, she only had
Oh,
does
so
that.
this is a list of her bilingual from last year?
Yes.
Those are all the students that are enrolled in ST Math now. So this is sort of a glitch in how we did the system right now, because we've got to get rid of them.
Yes, I was gonna say, because these students are not currently taking a class in most cases that,
In most cases.
that's not true.
unless they go to Rich.
Right.
We have 2.
I only have 2.
Only 2 in there.
Yeah, because they wanted to be in my class so much again this year.
I have an alphabetical roster of all my students, so
Okay.
that'll be easy to just compare them side by side.
Okay.
I'm just finding it on my computer.
Okay, so you think you guys,
How do you, can you disenroll?
Yes.
20.
It actually just inactivates them,
When
but you get that
add?
license back. They're not actually out of the system, so technically if they go to another school that uses it, you'll reactivate them.
And do you have to?
You go into the roster and click. It's either deactivated or yes.
I have 52 students altogether.
52.
Uh-huh.
So you're gonna need at least 55. Do you know how many?
Are you doing it on attendance?
who ordered, you know, for the high school?
That's me.
Yes. I would assume it would be Lee, right?
At 58.
58, so he needs at least 60.
And I'm assuming we're doing that for even the 11th, 12th graders that are in the class, right?
Uh-huh.
And am I gonna get an iPad card because they don't have iPads?
I know that was, Lee and Jeff were working on that. Whatever
We've
we
been working on it
decided.
for a very long time.
I
Because
thought,
Janelle's got hers right next door and she doesn't use it. That's what I was.
when did you talk to Lee though? Because I know they were working on it. But I'm not sure what was decided.
But since
You know what they're using?
since I can't bring a screw gun and unscrew it from the floor and move it to my room and screw it back in, they
They would frown on it. So there's 110 right now.
I'm like, why
So
can't
we
we just
just
unscrew
minimum
them?
110.
Yeah.
Um,
And I've had new kids just come in.
I just gained another new one that supposedly is coming in, so I'll have one more for
So we
fourth
might
grade.
need an extra 5 or 8
Wow.
or 10 if there's,
So 115 total accounts, maybe?
and I keep getting kids that keep dropping algebra. And they're failing and they,
150, so 120 maybe?
it'll probably be a safe number.
Rich, what are your numbers? Just your number, you said you have 4 periods of it?
I have 4 periods, I've got about 20 students per class, so I have roughly 81, 82 kids right now.
Okay. Yeah, I think they actually, the middle school did a little bit more counting, I think, because they were held up.
But isn't that, from what I understood from you earlier, is this not excessive? Do I only need about 25 at a time, because they only come to me
but it's not like Edgenuity where it's just, it counts it online.
Oh, I'm confusing it with that.
Yeah. Let's see. So,
We have
Leanne,
20, we have,
can I call Deborah and tell her we need a certain amount more? Can she just
So they did
make
not,
the PO for more?
so they did not purchase the.
It's almost like they're
like,
They're about-
205. 205 there, right?
so right now the high school's got 70 and you said we need like 120, 125.
And then who ordered these?
It was and through to my understanding, it was a big PO for the whole district.
Okay. Okay. I can ask her, she,
I think she pushed it, but I don't think she was the one that
okay.
made the actual numbers.
So who gave those low numbers?
I don't know. Well, that's the number I requested, which is probably too many for me, but I did request 50. I believe it was 85 to 90 was for the middle school, I remember that. And I was surprised to see the high school at 70.
And you're saying 125?
I don't remember anybody ever asking us.
Your syllabus progress is very low.
My what?
Your syllabus progress is very low.
So did we
Your name pops up here in this list.
Oh,
125?
Let's go with 125. I want to.
yeah, my standard mastery is pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Middle school is fine, it's just the high school. We need to up by 55.
And then are these transferable between sites? or-
Yes, they are. I'll call Deborah and find out how easy that would be to do.
Okay.
Because that puts you kinking on you there.
Hi Carmen, it's Renee. Good morning again. I'm with the ST Math tree and it looks like we have about, we're pretty low on our site licenses for ST Math. Do you know how we can add more, how long that will take? And then Tim's gonna talk to Deborah right now from ST Math, but it looks like we need to add about 55.
I have a lot of them in
Right,
case, I'm really
yes.
surprised.
And then it doesn't matter which, if they're gonna go to high school, but it sounds like they go into a pot and can be transferred from site to site as needed. Okay, okay, thank you. So Brandon said that he set up app assignments to be fluid with students' schedules. And he said every night at between 4:30 and 6:30 it runs. So that's when the updates should occur based on schedule changes. He says they have to wait at least 24 hours for them to show up after 48 hours of the student being in class. If they don't show up, then we can send in a help ticket for that. But so it should happen automatically without having to do anything, but there will be a 2-day delay.
Yeah.
So Julia has been in your class now for many days, so she should have it, so the first thing, okay, but she's a good baseline, right? So if she doesn't have it, then let me know, I'm gonna help to get her, you can do it too, but.
Get this happening.
Sure. But that sounds like good news.
Yeah, no, it sounds good, yeah.
Because I was thinking, wow, every single time a child has a schedule change, we have to do a request, that's gonna be very time consuming, but every
Supposed to
night,
work like
between
that.
4 and 6, the script runs, picks them up, but he said it may take 48 hours for them actually to start populating. But,
Probably depending on.
right.
Are they gonna write a script for the, Safari, so that kids can log in outside of this network?
There's been some discussion, I don't think we can stop them from logging in outside of this.
But you can stop them from going to certain sites outside of this network.
Okay. I know that
And
may be
they're
something that we may want to look at more, like case by case, because a lot of people, they do want their kids to have access.
Another quick way you can do it is, you can disable Safari and then load only, a safe browser.
Right.
That's what I would
So some of the browsers we don't use because they don't go through our filters
Yeah.
when they're here. So like we look at the, what was the one that we used, Puffin, which was a good safe browser.
Well, Puffin would actually do Java, that's why.
Oh, okay. But I know it bypasses our filters, so we weren't gonna enable any of those browsers. I know we were looking at doing I don't know, I'm not on the IT side of it, so Tim would know more, but where when they go home, it checks in to
Or
our server.
proxy.
Oh, proxy server. So that's something that we were looking at.
It's gonna be a lot of bandwidth.
Right, exactly, so it's not something we want to do immediately, but we're working on it. I know though, if you have students in question, or if there's a class.
I was the one that brought up vShare to
Yeah.
Levinsky at the, high
That's
school.
great. Way to be on it. But if we wanna lock certain groups or grade stands or something so that they can't, with the Casper focus, we focus them into something like that in the meantime. But, right, but that would be available, whereas some of these other things aren't available. Don't you feel it?
Yeah.
It's interesting after they got vShare wiped and all the games taken off of it, how they don't really put their iPads anymore.
I was surprised that people still were adding it. I was hoping that news would spread that if it's been added to PVC.
Suspend it.
Right, but I'm still there.
They still want games on it.
Yeah. I know I had a conversation with my son just about, you may know that or have heard, and he was aware that students were doing that, but I said, if you want something that we know, you have to hold on to it. This is for learning, this is for school, this is for home, so there's no reason.
And that's what I tell the kids. I go, you got your phone, and then this is a school product. Keep it
Right.
separate. It's like a
Right.
business. Business can't get your
Exactly.
computer. You keep your business computer separate.
Right, right. Is there anything
Did you go through
in the
yours?
moment?
Well, yeah. I don't know, two is fine.
Only two keeping?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And I may have one left. Because one might be transferring. Who knows?
So I'm looking for Francisco Fernando.
I'm just waiting for the one kid to take it home, plug it in, and jailbreak it. That's all.
You can get a lot of them that come back that it's just IT, so they haven't come through something, but. I think you have to.
Who gives that feature after? And then, basically, I don't know, after.
Yeah, there's all like legal downloads too.
Are they all like free or they can have their phone?
Yeah,
Just
they're
like,
burned. They're
like,
burned.
Yeah.
like Napster from.
Yeah, it's like Napster, yeah.
Yep. Wow.
You know, I was talking
It's a BitShare program.
And the two kids that I taught in elementary school, of course, had. Yeah, that's the next to the number.
So I think a huge part of it is that the kids don't realize is that you are school.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, that's, not that you're being sneaky, you're downloading anything, but it's that you are school. This is like
Yep.
serious ed.
That's what I told them. And when I told them that, I was, I actually had some, because I was going through them, and some of them are, I was just going through them real fast, so they didn't want to spend the whole period on it. Some of them were pretty smart, and they would, you know, gather all the other programs, put it in a folder, right? And then put so many in there would be like 3 swipes back, and then they build another folder within that folder that was like 3 swipes back, and then that's where they put everything. So, yeah, and so I was just going through it real quick, and I got probably like 80% of them. But then when I flat out,
And the
So,
time is,
yeah, I-
every single time.
I stood up in front of class, I'm like, look, what's gonna happen is if you give me the iPad now, they'll just, they'll tell you not to do it, they'll erase it, and you'll be fine. But if you don't give it to me now and they find it later, then you'll be in serious trouble. So they're like, well, we wanna be honest, we have it on here, so they're like giving them to me.
I would show one teacher how you can get the settings down on the section where you would reset it. You can click, it says something like original app, distribute an original app, so it will take everything out of the others and put all of that on the standard to them. Right, and then it will happen, other things happen. So it does like drag everything into different folders and such. So you know.
Is that in a reset?
I would like
in
to
general?
know that one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's in the settings.
Settings?
The other thing is they like to try to swap their iPads.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, what's your password? I don't know, I forgot it. I'm like, well, I'm gonna take it anyway.
Right.
If you don't show it to me, I'm taking it anyway.
So yes, the other reset says reset home screen layout. So it pulls everything out of folder.
Right.
Go all the way down to the bottom. On this
On
one,
this one.
yeah, reset. And then home screen layout. Right, okay, yeah. So it'll take all of those apps and pull them out of the browser.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's
Okay.
a good trick for them.
Yeah.
There's one kid who's just, he's down, his goal, his mission in his life is to burn up my entire time in the class period, telling me that his iPad won't work. That's what he does.
And just like, I know you had mentioned earlier, kind of sabotage it so that it makes it more difficult for you to solve the problem. So you go there, bring everything back, make it look like it was when it was handed to him,
Perfect.
and anything else was added to it, they would do their PC. You have, what is it, at your grade, Minecraft, what else did they put in? Instagram, for the middle school kids.
I had a lot of Snapchat.
Yes.
I had one kid, I took it away, and he's like, why are you taking it away? I'm like, we need to reset everything,
You know,
right? We need to reset everything, and he goes, well, am I gonna get in trouble for this porn on there? I was like, hopefully
Yeah.
you just blanket wipe it and don't look at what's on there.
No, but that's,
Pretty serious.
and you know what? You
So,
probably
guys,
should take
if I
some out,
swipe
because they're not
highlighter
leaving
on
any
kids'
more under age 18 over there.
Okay.
Sorry,
And so
you'll go
those,
straight
that
to-
put the red mark on,
Yeah.
that's what I did
Sorry.
first, those are kids that I
That's
don't know.
bad.
Okay.
They will
It's
try.
saying about 50%.
Hopefully they just wipe it clean.
I'm not
I'm
teaching about
telling you,
language.
that is
So I'm
what they,
teaching my-
they don't, that's the part of it that they don't know. that
Yeah.
they
Looks like
get a
Debbie
lot of
just gave you
trouble
this
for,
first
and then when they bring it
Why
to
different
the
this
high
stuff?
school,
Oh, well, that's, oh.
This is the
That's
S,
the actual mindset.
enrolled in SQ math last
So what
I just tell them that they have to be on better behavior than my generation. Because everybody got a phone and they got a photograph.
I
and
get it.
pictures
I
of
get it.
everything.
Footprints
Sorry,
are there,
let's get on the uptick,
step
Tim.
into it.
So red is get rid of.
Yep.
Red is get rid of. Okay, let me see if I
Be a
can.
lot more careful than I.
Do it real quickly here.
I got two.
That was it.
Two that had it. There were a bunch of them in my kids' class, but. Are we allowed to? Allowed to also.
Are we allowed to use it for Casey?
Use what?
The, this?
Uh,
And then how many more licenses do they
It's
buy?
kind of depend on the license issue.
Yeah.
I mean, Casey's already using Alex.
Yeah.
They bought that one. This is kind of nice. Being here with other kids. I wrote that too, but.
I have a lot of your kids.
I'm sure I have one.
Yeah. We're doing a lot of the hands-on stuff. And I'm really proud of them because they've come really compared to the previous year. This group is this. I mean, they're not always the brightest, but they'll try. I love that about them. We're actually able to get out of the walk and the poster, they created it.
I have a question. Who do I talk to have my kids move back up and regular opposite? We got one.
Well, there's the guy that can answer the thing.
The reason why he acts up is because.
Are you guys training yourselves? Oh, Tim's the
Tim
trainer.
is, Tim is.
Oh.
Tim's on.
Oh,
I just actually came by to see what kind of snacks they provide.
I've been eating the crust.
Even some yogurt with granola.
But he might be the money man.
yeah, we should probably mention to him
And I
that,
just kind of thought I would swing by just because, I don't know, I had this guy on my schedule today for a formal visit. He was not there, so I thought I'll go and see what he's on here.
It looks like we didn't order enough licenses for the high school. That's what we're working on.
How many did we order?
We had
70.
70 or
70.
320. So big. I'm not sure.
I remember talking with Robin and Lee, and we came to something, but we might, what
I
happens
think
is,
we only have 3 sections. Now we have 4.
we might also, what all we use it for, which classes?
Just the algebra.
Well, we should have been closer on our estimates, right? So,
But I've been getting a whole bunch of them.
A lot of drops.
Dropping out, south, dropping out. I probably need 10.
I'll be really excited.
I got every single class, every single seat filled in third grade. I got 32 kids in third grade.
Those are the classes we want to keep more than 25, 28. I can look into that, but we can definitely order more. If we can get a number,
Yeah, we have.
shoot that over to Robin, then we'll figure out how to pay for it.
You hear that? Tim?
yeah,
Okay.
Only problem I have with third grade is 32 kids. So I can't really,
Testosterone.
I don't have enough to separate out the boys from each other.
When I'll talk, I'll have to look at that now.
If it wasn't a class, we want to keep small.
Right? And I thought overall,
32 to 28.
I've got 23 and 24.
so those are the 4 sections. Yeah.
There must be a scheduling conflict between 5th, 1st, and 5th. That must be the middle of the day kind of thing.
Yeah,
It's easier to watch it.
I've been literally getting them from email. So the one that he says, I'm ready for all the one that's in front of my. I actually have 2 seniors, yeah, I got 2 seniors that are video.
And for them, that's their higher math,
Yeah.
for at least at this point.
I would rather have the whole classroom of video.
Yeah, oh, no.
They work so much harder.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because they have to try harder to understand everything, because their English is not, up there or whatever, but man, they try hard. I got ones that, think that they know it and just start messing around.
okay. All right, I think,
I've got everybody to leave for all the students, so.
I think we're in good shape.
So if they're not, I'll go through how to add somebody back in that's been deleted. Okay?
And in that situation, does it retain their data that they've already accumulated?
Well, they're gonna start a new syllabus for this. Last year was just the trial, and I'm trying to think what the middle school did. I don't think it was that program that they were doing. It was just strictly 6th grade. So this would be something different.
So just real quickly, before we get, I mean, you guys are already going, right? You guys started at 6 this morning, I think, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously, you're using it at the middle school, right? With what,
This is algebra readiness, which is.
so it's 7th and 8th graders, so it's our 6th graders that didn't get the grade level. And then they come in. And then you guys are kind of here just for the technology piece of it? Neither one's in the classroom, right? It's just,
I'm not using it in my class.
right, you are not.
I was just checking in, Jeff was, we were hoping Jeff was going to do it, so.
Jeff, my Jeff.
Support at the high school, yes.
Okay,
So,
And I did help to do last year,
Yeah.
the initiation.
okay, cool.
It's nice to have.
Because that way I know who to call.
Yeah, and I've already sort of, I know a little bit of how
So
it
for your
works. and-
site, if Lorena's been doing it, Jeff is our coach on,
On site.
so I sent him the link to his trainings that he did.
Not every year. Yeah, I think today is his AP World. I know he's pretty stuffy about missing everything right now to cover for that AP test. So, and it's not AP World, it's AP
Euro.
Euro. Okay, and I'll probably just stick around for,
Hard
I don't know, half hour. See what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I think the rosters are taken care of. We'll wait to hear back on high school. We blame Ron for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is first time a student logs in only. This is only the first time, the things that I'm gonna talk about. Now, if you ask anybody that's used this before, if you're not really careful with telling them that, they will go back and try to redo a new account. And none of their information will ever be saved. It'll be a nightmare. Okay, so the first day, this is what I was talking about, the very first day is the piece that could be complicated. Then after that, it should be smooth. So the first day they click on the question mark, and I'm gonna show you this because you're all gonna do it. Like I said, I'm gonna enroll you in my class. So after I show it to you, you're actually gonna do it, okay? So after you click on the question mark, it's going to give you this, okay? If they've never registered, it's I'm a new student, okay? It gives them basic stuff. First name, okay? And then of course last name, and then it'll ask them what grade that they're in. For you guys, it'll only say high school. It'll only give this option. I have a second grade, actually I have a first grade in there because I enrolled both my first and second graders in it. They do it at home. Yours will say that the middle school, the MSS, intervention. So there should only be one choice. Now, also, then it's going to ask them to choose a teacher. So it's going to give them the option of the teachers at that school. So for you guys, they'll see both of you, okay? It shouldn't be hard for them to choose the correct one, but remind them who you are. You'll only see one, I only see one, okay? And so that's the first time it happens. Then if you come into this, and a lot of you see this, we're always playing the gray. And then one of their videos talked about that, right? Playing the gray. Anything that comes up gray, that's where you play. And of course, our first thing that we see is always a phone. Okay? And it always opens up to intro to ST Math. When it hits intro, notice that there's a green bar around it. Okay? That tells you there's bars around the outside of the screen, and I have a printout for you, and it's actually on that haiku page as well. All the stuff that in those training courses that you can download, I've already downloaded them for you. They're on the haiku page, so if you ever wanted to look at it, it's all there for you already. So green is the thing that you're going to see. Green is good on our first day. If you're a week into it, and this kid is not new, and you see green, he went in, hit the question, he or she went in, hit the question mark, read it into account. Okay, so green on the first day, maybe the second day is good. Anytime after that, if it's not a new student, the kid messed up. Okay?
Can you point on that
Where's the green gonna be?
This green bar right here.
Yeah, okay, got
This
it.
one right here.
Okay.
Is it like one kind of-
Yes. Yes. Oh, let's, I have to,
Then they
Let's
just
walk
get rid of
around
the
and triple check those
Then they
periods
can
last
ask
year.
you a question, they finally find that button.
yeah, they do.
Then they're on
So-
board.
All right, so then I gave you this is the handout, and again, that's on the haiku page. So if you needed another copy or something like that, or just wanted to look at it digitally, you could. Okay? So that piece of it shouldn't be a problem. You should be able to get every kid to type in their name, type in their last name, choose the period, choose the teacher. Okay? So now, this is the time, and I think they showed that to you, right, where you triple click at the bottom, you get up the teacher console. Okay? So once we get going, you've got to enroll them in your classes. Okay? So to do that, you're going to triple click at the bottom down here. 1, 2, 3. Okay?
So this is where I'm individually interacting with each kid's iPad, yes.
Okay, so this is when you start touching each iPad. Okay? Now, here's the caveat to this. If the student logs off or quits this program before completing the password training, they don't exist. That's why the first day is so critical. Okay, so if something happens, let's say you get a disaster drill or something like that, and it takes up the whole period, just let it go.
And then if I could add, I know at the high school, you guys have block days, so I would recommend doing it on a block day. At the middle school, you have 51 minutes, including transition, everything. What we found is when we were doing it, if a teacher wanted to go over, like, this is the agenda, review your homework, you would not get.
You won't have time.
So that's the entire lesson plan.
It's gotta be the entire thing, and then, so you and I will be able to knock it out in 6 periods a day, no problem. However, even if you guys wanted to do it on a single period, you can do it, I've done it. But you need to have at least half of your class doing something else, and you just say, okay, these 3 rows, I'm gonna have you do this. These 3 rows, you're doing this, and tomorrow, you swap, and then back on block day, everybody's on the same. So you can do it like that as well.
What we had them do last year is just start playing on it.
Yes, and that's the intro. The
You can
intro gets you there.
They can just play while they're waiting for us to come around, right?
Yes.
Is that?
But if you don't get through the password training by the end of the
They
period,
lost it.
they've lost it. And
And then your
you'll see it
mind-
actually starts to get into your mind. Don't ever look at anybody's password
No.
because it'll trick you. You'll think, oh, that was a bird. I know there's a bird somewhere. And so don't look at when I have you do it. Don't look at anybody else's. It'll confuse you. And when I have my daughters do it, 1st and 2nd grade, I can be like, I'm looking at my password. I'm like, I'm not going to look at it because it'll get me confused.
Yes.
Okay, so you don't want to look at that, and you can remind them of it too, because everybody's password is different. I believe it's a 13-character picture password. It could be a number, it could be a symbol, it could be a picture of a bird or tire or something like that. It's so random. Everybody's different. Okay. Yeah, it looks like that. And you'll see it in just a minute.
It's very
And you
You'll
will
see it.
memorize it, and you are gonna think there's no possible way to remember the tire and the bow tie and the ladybug and the toothpick, but you do.
But you do. It's so good. That's why they're called the Mind Institute. They get in your mind.
Yes.
Okay? So, gotta finish the password training. All right? So, they're gonna start on that. And so, once I triple click, I log in. Okay? I get this particular console that pops up. I've got to log in. This is why I told you on that first day, like right now when you set it up, choose something easy to do, just in case you have to do it multiple times. Hopefully, if everything goes smooth, you'll only have to put your password in once. Then I'll talk about what teleport is. So it kind of teleports your password to another iPad in the background, so you won't have to put it in. But if you take too much time or you have to, help Johnny pick up something, you dropped it or something, if you spend too much time before you get to the other iPad, you'll have to re-log in altogether. Go ahead.
Now, does this thing actually apply only to the particular iPad, so if a kid pulled one off of a cart, let's say a day that they weren't going to pull off of a cart, are you going to do it again?
They'll only have to do that first initial sign in with your code the very first time that iPad is used. That one that I showed, that iPad's never been used on STM.
I'm not sure I understood that question.
So he's saying if a kid forgets his iPad at home and they happen to have extras, but this, is the password unique to the iPad or the student? It's unique to the student. Okay, good. Got it. So they can essentially log into any iPad once it's initialized, or a computer once it's initialized. That first initial thing where you're putting in the school code. Great.
May I interrupt you? I got an email back about Steve's iPad. So Janelle's part, it sounds like was taken for grade grade, sound correct? And that Lisa had asked Ron, so Ron's here, about him potentially getting iPads that he'll be getting them and using the computer lab. Was there some conversation about using the computer lab for STMath until that iPads are available?
I can, on the village, so,
And where do these iPads come from?
It sounds like they have to be ordered, so it's
Here's what happened, we took 2 or 3 math teachers' iPads because they were a different version
okay.
than what they wanted them, all the freshmen, I think, to have the same version or
Yes,
something.
okay.
Then what I was told by Ben is that all those were replaced and they're already back in the classroom.
But they're not regional, from what Lisa, they're not
Did you now have a set, well, you said one was vacant.
kid part.
regional. Ship part.
Okay, so that I can follow up with Ben, because I was told those were all replaced.
Okay.
Because we're not gonna get any new ones. Those were just being swapped out. They were actually getting a newer iPad with those cards, and the older ones were being part of the 9th grade.
Okay.
So I'll find out. And then you guys were gonna share it, you and Janelle? We're gonna go back and
Well,
forth? or-
she was gonna use it, she said, so.
Oh, okay. So, okay, before then, I would just go to the, sign up on your lab, but I'll check with Ben.
So then in the meantime, can we make it so that we get into the lab every, like, are you going to continue with the whole site to get into the lab, or can we make that happen?
I don't think so, because the lab isn't busy like it used to be.
Okay.
Because most people use the lab now,
Actually,
like,
same at our.
The English,
Yeah.
English department used it a lot last year, that's what I was told.
and we actually have two different labs, one that's inside the library and one that's in the room in the library. So between the two, I would really doubt
Okay.
you're gonna run into problems.
Okay. And then Tim will go over usage, how many minutes or days or
Yes, we'll hit that.
okay, so then maybe we can just get you down, I'll email, I think Ben was on this email, so I'll reply to him.
And that's on the, where is this iPad card type?
Correct. Yes.
Thank you, that will give me.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so once you triple click, you log in, you get these choices. And we'll talk about these other choices before. But you can allow student to retry password. You can retrain the student on their password. Every once in a while it comes up. Okay, so like after a big break, so after winter break or something, you might have a couple of people can't really remember. You can go, and it'll tell you student couldn't figure it out, basically. You can go in and basically say retrain, you put in their name and everything, and retrain them on their password. Doesn't happen very often, but the option is there. Okay? Well, right now when we're enrolling them, you want to link to my class as a new student. That's what we're doing right now. We're enrolling them in your student, in your class. Okay? So it'll come up with your information. There's me. Oh, this is actually the student information. I enrolled myself. So this is me. It could say, you know, Rayanne Rockwell would be the person. Teachers, Tim Gillis, and then class. Remember I said set up some periods for yourself? Okay, especially if you got 4. You want to separate them out so you can start looking at that data. So this is where you would select what actual class that student is in. Then it pops them up into here, and it puts them, this is kind of like your class roster. As soon as it puts them in there and has them green with a check mark in it, that means that they're actually enrolled in your class. You hit done, okay? Once you hit done, it's gonna say, tap the new student that you'd like to link to next. This is that teleport that I was talking about. So, and there's different ways of doing it. So obviously, see I enrolled Heidi. So if I click on her, I need to go to her next. So as soon as I go to her next, I can say, okay, let me have your iPad. I triple click in it. And you shouldn't be showing students where you're triple clicking at or even saying triple click, because then they're going to try to access the teacher console. Okay? So I always just pick it up, just hit it with my thumb, so I'm not like this. Just tap down there and with my thumb. And it'll actually, see, I'm heading towards Heidi's. And then I can do it on hers. And you're going to end up doing this until that they're all linked. Okay, so you've got to touch every single iPad on the first day. That's why the first day can be a little confusing. Now, one other thing. It's good to pick somebody that's in close proximity so you don't have to go across the room. However, we all know about classroom management, so if you know that your particular class, if you're not watching them or on them and they get off task, you may want to skip a row. You may want to say, okay, I'm going to go here, and I know I'm going to go over there next, so I'm going to find you, get you, and I'm coming right over here. That way I'm zigzagging across them, so you've got that, that proximity to the students when you're enrolling them.
Yeah.
So it's not just down this row and this kid over here's going, it's going to be a long time before you get to me. So,
Like that, like, okay.
yeah, you guys kind of use that on what's best for you. Okay.
Looks like when you forget your password, because I can't remember mine from last year.
So then at that point, you're gonna contact the teacher.
Right, so now I would come by as a teacher, triple click, and then go see, and I get the screen that Tim had up before.
All right, okay.
3 choices.
Yep.
It's because I'm not linked to my current classroom.
I deleted it, yes.
I've been deleted. But I remember my picture sequence. It's good. I remember it. I'm surprised.
Okay, so basically we're going to do course 3 together. Course 3 is about everything that I just talked about. So this is our live demo situation. So go ahead and run STMath, open up STMath on your iPad. And yours is different, you already put it in. So these are the codes. So you're going to be enrolled, so you're essentially right now, you've been picked out of Valley Center High School and you've been sent to Oakland. It's going to enroll you in Oakland. Okay.
You want me to do that for you?
No, actually, I'll come by and I will link you into mine. Because that'll come up.
You want us all to do that?
Yeah. Okay, so open up STMath and put in school ID, which is the top one, and that's an S. Every kid puts in a 5 for me. I'm like,
It looks like a 5.
I know, like, bring it like a bunch of them. It's just my sloppy brain. So when it goes, so if something goes wrong and they don't get enrolled, go back and check what code they put in and just say, okay, did you put a 5 or did you put an S in there?
You said capital letters don't matter.
No, capitals don't matter, the dashes don't matter. So it should be prompting you for your name.
So that was next, right?
Yes. I can do it like that video in front. Let me get closer. Yeah, it makes a big difference.
Is it a Z or a 2?
Z. Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I put a little line.
Yeah. You just have to.
Yeah.
Okay, so once you get in, it should prompt you for all that stuff we went through. Okay? Okay, so did you hit question mark?
Oh,
Remember, first day is the question mark.
Okay.
How can you have pretty grade now?
Because I enrolled my daughter in it. I love this program. I think it's phenomenal. And any chance I can get my own children to use it.
Now I can just play with it.
It's getting, once you get you into intro, you should have a green box on it. Just put your name. go. So you're ready, you're basically just gonna go intro, and you're waiting for me to come around. Okay?
Keep your own stuff.
Teacher, that's
Right,
right.
cool, I keep getting the question mark.
Do you say teacher,
Well,
or
now
teacher,
you're
teacher?
here. Okay, I'm a new student. Got it.
So Tim, I know that
Okay.
comment is, I gave her the numbers on that. Did you talk to Deborah?
I left a message, she didn't pick up. So hopefully we can get it taken care of next couple of days.
Yes, yes, because we're ready to do it tomorrow.
And there's enough accounts for her class to go, and she can steal them all at first, and
It's
we'll just.
fine.
Steve. Okay, great, thank
Four
you.
people in this third group.
They should have the penguin fall in if you have a hole. That would be fun.
No, he doesn't, he goes back.
Yeah,
I think
stops and
it's-
then comes around and goes back.
Rejected. But the kids will start learning the noise, the sound of the phone.
Yes, and I actually, and I'll show you, because you guys should, well, this is my philosophy. I never ask a student to do anything that I haven't done. And there's a lot of modules in there, and there's a lot of new modules that I haven't done. So, bring it up to me like, how do I do this? Well, of course, my first question is, what have you done? Because remember, the whole point is to have success through some failure. So I ask them what they've done, and it looks really cool. And then I go back to my computer and I try to run it. And then when I'm successful, yeah. So then they started doing it too at home with their other camera.
It's kind of like Pavlov.
Yes, it is. It trains
You
them.
want that,
Absolutely.
you want that positive thing.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, and so here we go. So I'm gonna start coming around. And then, so like I said, I used an easy password on the first time.
You can start playing with it
I can.
until you can do it.
We do different processes.
Okay, so link as a new student. There's your name, and then I. Six. I'm gonna roll you my attention over here. Six. Doesn't really matter to the student, it matters to me when I go through my data. So there it is. So then check if you're in, you're done. There should be somebody else there, and it'll actually tell me. It should show me. Okay, so Rich is sitting there waiting, so I just click on Rich. It's teleporting you there, and then it's gonna come out. As soon as it goes back to the student screen, I hand it back, password training. There you go. Okay, so then I teleported from there to here. So then I'm gonna take your iPad. Okay. Go there.
Zero password training.
Triple click.
No offense.
It's doing an
Don't say
instant
it out
login
loud.
because I teleported, so I don't have to go through that. It makes it.
We'll memorize it, don't do it, don't do it.
Banana, that's a new student. Your information. And then I choose the actual period. Okay. That's your, okay, now I hit done. Right now, that screen that came up, that was my teleport.
This is more valuable.
Okay, and so there was nobody else to teleport to at the moment, but if you're well, then I would select them, I would go through the process, but I don't part this back, so I'll sort of activate the screen and say, password training. And so I say, so at this point, I would say, okay, do your password training right now.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
okay, so then you play the gray, go ahead and work on your password training, okay, all right? And let's adjust yours.
I just, I wanted to make sure.
At the
You
school?
want me to go back?
Usually the federal.
I'll try and log in.
You've gone through it before,
Yeah.
so you know it.
Yeah.
But you're not linked to a class right now, that's why.
No.
But you can actually link yourself, because I deleted you out of your own class.
So so I can link myself, but, okay, so how do I? Oh, I have to link my, okay, I know.
Really, I'm gonna remember this?
So. See,
I guess.
So go ahead and hit that, because you know you remember yours, so
So.
put it in. Okay, he'll hit a block when he doesn't have. That's right. That's all we can do.
You know?
So,
Totally good. There's also, I mean, it's gonna be necessary.
Right, Dean, you're
Yeah, feeling pretty big.
About password reminder.
No.
yeah, I think it's approximately about 20 minutes. To do the password training, it takes approximately 20 minutes.
You're working on the password?
No, I'm,
You were creating a password too.
no, I'm going through a million emails because I'm so
Oh,
far
I know how
back
that
up.
is.
Oh, you leave for
Hours.
one day and it's 280
Oh,
emails.
wow. Incredible.
Your love.
No.
And don't have more
There's
than
no
one
love
account.
in these emails.
Except for the last one. That's full. Keyboard.
They also have a keyboard training within the program.
Oh, it's a weird.
Oh, it's not a regular. Not a regular.
That's one thing that I found so amazing, that when I grew up, I was the generation of first personal computers. Like when I was 6, I had an Apple IIe in my house. You know what I mean? And then we would do it, so we got used to typing with 2 hands. Like this. Now kids, because all they do is everything mobile, you go like this, you try to get them to type and they're doing this. And I'm like,
I was in a generation where we didn't necessarily learn to type. You know?
We had to learn how to type on the old fashioned type. Took our typing class,
Typewriter?
and put the things over your hand.
No numbers.
That was a, what do you call it, an elective when I was in school. And to tell you the truth, that was what all the kids took and screwed around in, so I didn't take it. And I'm sure enough all my buddies got in trouble with it, but they probably know how to type.
I got that class. The only class I got a year and a half, I got a lot of trouble. But she would walk around with a ruler and yardstick and you looked underneath it. Okay, don't you get your hand? Wow.
yeah.
Don't look.
Well, I really want to sign up for you. I wanted to really take a license. Yeah.
You can delete yourself. Add yourself, and then I'll show you how to delete yourself.
Well, I think they had you guys said you had like a screen that went over it so you couldn't watch your hands, is that what it was?
Yeah, it was like for me, it was just like a
But-
envelope that went over.
Yeah.
Oh,
Paper.
so those were training typewriters. They were specifically to train you to type. Well, I remember paying like $1 or $2 a page when I was in college to have my papers typed.
Really?
Yeah.
They got off easy. I typed it online. I could charge for about a penny.
I used to get paid in college.
Yeah. I did find out though that as I got higher and higher in the sciences, it got tougher to find someone to type your paper because they had to be able to understand it.
Yeah.
If you could find a good type person, you could get some good grades on papers and not be a very good writer because they would.
All right, let's see how it
good thing about the way that they do the password thing is on the keyboard, they don't put any other symbols that could possibly be
That's
other than that current one.
Only one on there.
Yeah.
That works. I think while you guys are finishing your password,
Alright.
You guys mistaken me for my future piece. Very good class. Okay, these students that you guys are working with, these at the high school level, I don't know if it applies much to you, but we're gonna be at such a disadvantage with them because they don't get tested until they have like a break.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to come up with all kinds of our own assessments to see how they're moving along towards that progression. Because yours get tested every year still, I think all the way to 8th.
Yeah.
So you'll have a score to kind of go back and say, yeah, this math really helped them on the new state standards, and we're moving forward with them or we're not. Where at the high school, it's gonna be delayed.
Did you hear what Tim was saying though?
No.
That he had the highest test scores because of his program?
Oh, no, that must have been before I got here, but that's when he was in Elsinore, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's talked to me about that before when he was, when we were looking at it. Susie, is Linda one of the union people
Linda,
with you, Zaki? Okay. Because she wanted to meet with me on some just minor issues on how we make changes in classes and communicate that stuff. But I didn't know if that was like a.
yeah, she is. We have 3, Bexer, Linda, and Sherry. And I hope it didn't come about the supplies for you.
Oh, no,
That
no.
it wasn't directed at you.
I think what,
It was a funny thing that
yeah,
I shared.
I think what it is
But then
it
afterwards,
changed
I'm
who's
like,
ordering it.
did it?
Well, because I think we're now ordering those from the site where before it was calling you, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And whoever was ordering before knew that the cheapest one didn't work well.
Uh-huh.
And we've always bought the middle of the road,
Oh, got it.
which is kind of what I was raised to do. Don't buy the very
Yeah.
best because you're using wasting more money. But
Right.
don't buy the cheapest because you're not.
Right. No, I wanted to say, it wasn't me that, it wasn't directed at you.
Okay, no,
It was kind of a district question, how does it work everywhere?
right,
Here's an example. It was,
yeah, no, I didn't take it,
I thought afterwards, oh no, I should have talked to Ron.
no offense. Trust me, if that's the only issue, I'm not happy guy.
It was funny.
One is, the MHR,
Uh-huh.
is that
What's the
for
date on that?
the November the 14th?
Okay.
Is that for my classes only, or how?
No, you can open that up to the school. My biggest thing I would do is probably open up the class.
Yeah.
with auto shop, and then maybe you must be together.
The other thing is is there a limit on kids? Because all of a sudden I've got like, some kids have told other kids and they've come up to me and like, oh, you're saying, can I go?
Well, here's what I would think is, I can't say stay for more than 1 month, just because of cost. But I would also say, let's get the kids' lists, and let's run it by kids and morning. Because if there's any discipline problems, academic problems, or grade issues, we might have to work them out. What I would say is just because, let's say the kids hurt in all 3 of them, we still can say we want this kid to go.
Yeah.
Because maybe that's something that's going to get them back in. So anyways, it doesn't mean they're out, but we do take a careful look at this. And then, by then, once we get that, then we'll have to narrow it down. I think we get 60 kids. Actually, legally, we get 90.
Really?
High school kids at 90 is quite a bit. You get
I'll say 3 in a seat.
Yeah, but high school kids, 2 in the seats usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely check in with Wes, but I like how both you guys put it together.
Well,
But it was,
Friday.
it was fine.
Friday would be from we school in the morning, start of school, and Mark's,
Okay, so,
normally when he did for.
so when you back to ST,
They would
or
be back
intro?
around like 6.
You need to continue to work on intro. Force you to do all of the intro before you're diagnosed. Right, you do. So keep going with your intro.
I don't know.
Because what's really nice about that is you can have them sign up if they're going to go to field trip and then they're saying football.
Good idea.
So you might just roll the kids and say, hey guys, this is one big package we're going to the RA, and then afterwards you have a chance to work something. So that way it's kind of clean,
Yeah.
as long as you check every kid in. You know?
Yeah.
So talk with the bar, have them walk you through all the paperwork that you've got. 20 times less than the trip. And then talk to Steve, because that would be 2 of them, which, you know,
I guess, but it's gonna take you.
oh, good, so we should get a bus together. Yeah, we do one bus for both of us.
Okay.
Let's talk, like, even what we do with the automatic base funds, and we'll split it. When everybody gets out. Cool.
So,
And I'm glad you had to play with him on the first trip, because it's good to have a veteran teacher who's going to field trips. I don't know if Clay is the best one, but I love the guy.
Okay, so it still says intro to STMAT. So what will happen is you have to finish your intro before it gives you the diagnostic. Now, if we're coming up at the end of the period, I'm having a kid log out right now. At the end of this first day, if they've done their password training, the way to lock it in is to log out and come back. So actually, we're going to do that right now, okay? So here's how you log out. So you hit the red arrow at the very bottom until you get to a red X. And depending on how far along you are, and then hang on the red X before you hit that. Okay, perfect. So eventually, right in the center where it says time spent, if you have made significant progress in your syllabus or your mastery progress, it'll show right there. And I'll talk about how much they should be going up each week in a minute here, but they can actually see it right there. Now, if we hit the X, you see your green bubble go? Yeah. Okay, you actually didn't have a green bubble. That happens sometimes. But I make sure if it's any other color than green, like red means they've lost internet connection. Oh, if it's red, they need to re-log in and re-log out. Try to get it to push whatever save in the iPad out. You do not get data on the kid for what they've done that day until they've actually logged out and then send that green bubble. That green bubble is their data zone. Okay? So now what I'm gonna have you do is log back in. And both of you are still working on your intro. It should take you to intro. Yep. So here we go.
Oh, I see.
And now that's only the question mark on the first day. Other than that, no. Perfect. I want you to finish the intro because I want you to see something come up while I'm speaking.
Did you hear me throw you under the bus, Ben?
Two things.
I mean, yeah, sorry about that. I really didn't mean to, but, no, who was it? Oh, Janelle Vasquez had a card, and when we took all the English cards, she never got her card back.
She's all ninth grade. Her card was one.
Oh, that's why it was absorbed, because she's all ninth grade. That
Brett
makes
and
sense.
Jones are the three that we took in at Dorp.
Yeah, because Steve was gonna take her card, but I forgot that was the whole plan.
Yeah.
That's why we made her all ninth.
We don't have any
Yeah.
extra over there.
So you'll have to use the computer. Okay, that's a good explanation, because that's right, that's why we have her all ninth
What
grade.
happened to Lee's card?
Lee's got hers back,
Everybody who had a card should have it back.
except for the ninth grade English teachers and our
But they're
ninth
one,
grade.
but they're 1-to-1 now.
But she doesn't use them, does she?
I don't know.
Use them for Desmond.
So,
Or does?
she has a couple apps on there that she's requested.
But you might look at what period she's using them, you guys might be able to share the card, I don't know.
It might be someone you could,
The problem is where you're at, you're right perfect to, because he's in the back there, and you need it. And
But where are
the backside of the 600s there. So, good explanation, thanks, Ben. I was wondering why, because I thought, Ben told me they were all back.
yeah, we get them all back and we don't have any extra. I wish we did. Wish we had extra laying around, but we don't have any more.
Oh, okay, that works perfect.
I'll be there this afternoon.
For the 10 minutes, I mean,
FYI.
if it takes shorter, that's fine.
Yeah, I'll put it real quick.
I seriously try to get my staff meetings done in 45 minutes instead of an hour, just because,
Yeah, I
but I think I'm pretty good.
try to go quick.
You did a good job.
Yeah.
They've been spoiled, because as soon as I go 50, I start seeing people shifting in their seats. But yeah, that would be perfect. I think it'll be a good explanation for everybody.
Yeah, sure. Sure, you get to that.
And then I set up a time with, and they'll alternate who it is, Jeff and Mark, to meet with me an hour a week and do something new on the computer, just because I'm not picking up that stuff very fast. I mean, unless I set a designated time,
I want to
just
just
might
like,
happen.
yes,
I think that'd be kind of fun.
Got a lot of kids that
That's what,
take,
you know, like focus
Their
on
pencil.
a lot of.
and they'll
How
know
do you use
one,
the
and like pencil and set a pencil down. And I go, pretty smart, I mean.
We need that. We should be looking
So in that focus meeting we have, I might find some things and then have them follow up.
for. Yeah, exactly. Make some notes.
Because in a focus meeting, when we do 20 minutes or whatever,
Yeah.
I don't, because I'm not so natural with it, I don't pick it up. It's like,
Right.
do a little bit I haven't done. Okay,
Okay, that'll be the focus of focus.
I'm glad we're focused.
Yeah.
All right, Ben, have a good
All right, take care. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. That email, I have a feeling why.
Which one?
Yes, you had one before we.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I have to go. County.
Exactly, okay. Exactly. Maybe it's part of business class.
Since tomorrow's off, and I have some scary.
So if we're gonna open that up, we're gonna FaceTime with us, is definitely social media and notify the kids, so check out, like, that's why we're trying to. Separate it. The good things here, but the bad things there.
That's right.
You know, and in fact, if we were, I think before, they were high school, but the whole system, they're on it's good, don't use it anyway. So allow it, but then, things like that, it kind of opens up other things for us, so, we haven't gone that route. If we can limit the Google Plus from being disabled, but allow hanging out, then it may be an option. But we, I haven't looked at it in a while, but I know it was like a package thing, like you had to have that,
Yeah.
so.
That's all right. I mean,
Yeah, if you find out if isn't using it, that isn't using Google Plus, that may be an option, but because it's a social media, we don't want to give us direct access to that. Okay, good. They are pretty cool though.
Yeah.
They have, yeah.
No, we don't have to do them all now, right? All right.
You can, the end of the quiz on the intro is basically just showing you how a quiz is going to look. It's just 5 questions. And it pretty, I believe it points you in the right direction.
love it. My wife, they'll get frustrated. This part, actually, it's kind of fun when you get frustrated because you get to see them get frustrated.
They, they're trying, they get frustrated to a different degree. And, but then, they get like, oh my God. Like, oh my God, how did I not see that? So again, I love that you're having success with that. Yeah. So does it say, okay, so yours says warm up. Okay, so I believe you're on the warm up as well. So you hit the arrow and go back. Okay. So at warm up, this is the key part. Assuming you got, okay, so you got all your students through the beginning part. You got half your period and everybody's essentially done. That would be the goal. Once everybody hits the warm up, that's when you want to go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to have to log out. And that saves right there. Now, we've kind of already done that with YouTube, but in the classroom, when they hit the warm-up, that's where you want to log them out. So go ahead, I'm going to have you log out. They call this the end of day 1, essentially. But I always start what they call day 2 on the first day. That guarantees me they're logged in. So go ahead and log out, just like we did before.
Day's accomplishments.
Red arrow,
back until.
red arrow until you get to the red X. Sometimes the first one is like that.
And then you hit the X and I log you out.
The X officially logs you out.
Now, what's the overall progress has got 3 levels, 2 years coming.
That means you finished that cone, you started that cone, you spent 6 minutes, and you did 17 puzzles in that time since I had you log out right now. So log out.
I would give prizes for the kids that got the most done, like how many puzzles they can accomplish.
So hit the red X, it'll log you out, and then go ahead and log back in. It's what it's going to do is going to give you a diagnostic test right now. The diagnostic test is the one piece of this that's not real fun. But just like most of math type programs, the more you know, the less you have to do. So if they just blow through it, they're going to get bored on it. So I always preference the diagnostic test. Hey, do your best because then you don't have to, if you know that, you don't have to practice it later. But if you just guess, it's going to force you to do it. The diagnostic test should come down, it'll look like there it is. It looks like this cone. Okay? And it'll absorb you up in it when you press it. Okay.
Now, if we just guess, it'll force us to do it.
Yes.
It'll force you to do it. Now you guys can just guess all you want right now. It doesn't really matter. But you want to give your students time to do this. This will take, I believe there's 42 or 45 questions on this. I can't remember exactly. But they'll need a piece of paper. They really should have a piece of paper doing most of these puzzles, especially when they hit the decimals to fraction conversion stuff. They'll start, if they actually do it on paper, they'll start to realize, hey, there's a pattern here. And for us, we know that math is a lot of patterns. So that was the tough part right there, getting them to the diagnostic test. If you've got your students to the diagnostic test, that's where you want to be. That's the phew.
Does this diagnostic test show a difference for every student? Like or is it all the same?
Yeah, it's all the same. Now the answers could be in different order.
Okay, so they can be scrambled. Yes. So we send that to each other and do like, okay, today we're going to do the diagnostic test.
They really have no idea.
Looking at it, it could be 40,
You just
40
tell them.
problems. That would totally take the whole period.
That will take the whole period and sometimes into the next, but that's fine.
But just tell them that everything's scrambled. You might see somebody with the same question, but it's in different orders, so don't even think about it.
And so when they finish with it, they'll give them, you're going to get a cone. And so I have students that basically, you guys can probably got almost everything wrong. But some, they'll have different cones, different levels, like they do really well in fractions, different well. So they have a lot of stuff that they exited out of that won't make them do. So once they're done with that, you're in the program. You're there. Okay? All right, let's, actually, I'll wait for Rich to get back here.
We do a pre-quiz before everyone.
We put in a request for the walls in all our classrooms.
Yep.
That's so awesome.
I would say that one full wall of them would be, to me, would be very awesome. All the way around, we use once a lot in our meeting, but I don't know if it would be quite as cost
Yeah.
worth it, but one wall is really nice because you can probably get all of your students in a spot up there in groups.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. This is what the rooms at Apple look like. That's where they.
Okay.
But then they'd all seem to walk.
Anyone's drawing inappropriate.
Okay, so I'm gonna have you go back into the tab on your computer, and there's a couple of last things in what they call course 4. We skipped course 3 if you wanted to go through it and do it in detail, but pretty much course 3 is that first day stuff, the teleporting, the triple click, all that stuff right there. That's course 3. And course 4 is gonna talk about a couple other things. I think that one's pretty quick. And then I want to get what periods we're doing it, and then I'm done.
So are we looking at the analysis? Game analysis?
Well, Mary just got available, so I'm going down to see Mary.
Haven't seen you in a long time, Ron.
I know, we just haven't been in the same meetings.
I know we work in the same place.
Well, thank you.
Oh, that's it, huh?
That's it.
Okay.
Wasn't a spit worth. Well, I will see you guys again today at our staff meeting.
Sounds good. I gave Amanda some information about that.
Notes?
Yeah. If she plays it, then I'm not.
If she what?
Well, it's directed.
Oh, from a source?
Okay, so
No.
I'm gonna have you go back to the haiku page. Okay. You go to course 4. There's something, I don't think there's a few minutes worth of something on course 4, and then that's it.
All right, what was the art dashboard?
Oh, there you go.
We have a meeting after school, right?
Staff meeting. Look at, every Wednesday, you have to expect something.
We got a lot of them.
Go check on, Robin sent an email with all the scheduled meetings.
How long ago?
Wednesdays are always meeting days. Don't ever plan anything on Wednesday.
Did you see some of this out?
This morning.
I don't have. I still don't think my name's in the master list.
Yeah, oh, Robin. Yeah, I'll send it. Because did you get the benefit selection stuff from him?
Nope.
Yeah, forward it to you.
So we're doing some work.
Yes, go ahead and course 4.
Yeah, no, that's-